This is a delight to welcome two close friends, Prime Minister Viktor Orbán of Hungary and Prime Minister Andrej Babiš of the Czech Republic. When I say close friends, I mean that. Both close personal friends, but also leaders who've made their countries even greater friends of Israel than before. And we appreciate the fact that they've opened up missions in Jerusalem and also that they assist us on the international stage as true friends do. In the spirit of that friendship, they came here to Jerusalem to see how we can cooperate on COVID. And we discussed a number of ideas. The first is exchanging green passports, as we've done with several countries already. And it would be, I think, an important addition to add Hungary and the Czech Republic to this. But equally, to see how we can involve both the Czech Republic and Hungary in the international plant that we want to build here in Israel for the production of the vaccines of the future. And we discussed this in considerable detail. I have to say that there's interest, as you will soon hear, on cooperating on this. I think this creates a capability for our countries that is, I think, more significant when we do it together. We are better together. The last thing that I want to say is to thank the many people who sent well wishes to my wife, Sarah. I visited her a few hours ago in the hospital. She's doing better, recovering, so I want to thank you. להודות לכל האזרחים הרבים ששלחו איחולי החלמה לרעייתי שרה. היא מודה לכם ואני מודה לכם בשמה. תודה רבה לכם. Victor, please.
Good afternoon to everybody. First of all, may I just express how grateful we are that Prime Minister of Israel was so kind to invite us to be here. You should know that in Hungary, not just your country, but your Prime Minister has a very high reputation as friend of Hungary, which is not just expressed by culture and political gestures, but even in economic figures. May I just remember all of you that in the world trade, the volume of the world trade was decreased more than 9%, 9.2 or something like that, because of the pandemic last year. But the Israeli and Hungarian trade volume was increased by 1%. So that's friendship is a living friendship. And may I just recall your memory as well that Prime Minister was very much supportive to a major investment in Hungary for an Israeli company. The Hungarian government supported as well to produce ventilators anyway, which is now the basis of our supply. And we got the lesson of your company working in Hungary that it's better to be supplier than buyer with that tools and instruments when we are living in pandemic time. So Prime Minister, thank you very much for your support and your cooperation. But plus to that, the reason why we are happy to be here is to understand how Israel state is the world champion of fighting against pandemic, because it's not just something, it's real outstanding. And having some years in politics, I'm sure that to be successful to fight against pandemic has a precondition, and this is leadership. If there is leadership, there is a chance to be successful. So I understand that this is the same situation here, and may I just congratulate to the Prime Minister and to the government of Israel to be so successful, and we try to understand during this visit how we could follow you. We are not world champion in this respect at all, but we try to be the best in the European Union at least, and we have some chance to do so. So I understood that there are some moments in which we can consider Israel as a role model for Hungary, how to organize our defense activities. Prime Minister was so kind to offer a chance to speak and think together a little bit about the future. Because, okay, let's say that we will successfully stop the virus and the coronavirus and pandemic today, but what will happen next year and 2 days later? And the world is full of uncertainty. Many scholars says that we will live in a world of the age of pandemics of the future. So that's the reason why the Hungarian delegation was so much happy to take the proposal of Prime Minister Netanyahu to have a common investment or to join an international effort to have an investment here in Israel, which can produce capacities for creating vaccines and other medicines, not just to corona, but the other possibilities of dangers created by the new virus. So we are very much happy to be part of the common defending investment action with your Prime Minister and your government as well. We got some very good ideas concerning green card. In Hungary, we introduced also for inside of the Hungarians how to use the green cards, what are the main questions. Thank you very much for that, Prime Minister. Plus, at the same time, we made an agreement that Hungary is happy to join the international green card proposal initiated by your Prime Minister. And Hungary is happy to join. We would not like to wait for any big international organization. We would like to act at the national level and to make an alliance and deal with other countries. And Prime Minister, be happy that Hungary would like to be sure that Hungary would be happy to join to that initiative. So, one closing remark, if you allow me, Prime Minister. Sure. We have an old friendship, personal one. It's known, and I do remember that 12 or 13 years ago I visited you. At that time I was in opposition, and I do remember how was Israel at that time. I do remember the figures, the economy, and so on. And I'm very much happy to see that after 12, 13 years, what are the figures now here in Israel? And may I just congratulate to you and to your government for that successful 1 decade. And what I can do is nothing else, just try to copy it for Hungary. And we will be also happy to reach the same level of developments as you have done, especially in modern factories, in modern branches of the industry here in Israel. So, Prime Minister, thank you very much again for friendship, for cooperation, and for good advices how to defend our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Victor. In fact, our meeting took place in this hotel. It didn't change. It didn't change, but the rest of Israel did. Some things are good when they don't change, but most things have to change for the better. Andrej, please. Thank you for your kind remarks. Thank you.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, dear Bibi, dear Viktor, ladies and gentlemen, in the first place, I would like to thank you for helping to organize our visit so quickly on such a short notice. And it feels reassuring to know that the Czech Republic has a friend it can rely on. And thank you for this. As you are well aware, the COVID pandemic had hit my country particularly hard these past 2 months. And the reason why I came here to Israel is to learn about your experience. And under the guidance of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, great leader, the State of Israel has become the example to follow the fight against COVID. And the Israeli government acquired the necessary amount of vaccines ahead of everyone else, even paying them upfront. This gamble paid off, and as we speak, Israel is on the way to becoming the first country in the world where people can start living the life they were used to. Before that happens, there is a green passport, thanks to which some businesses and cultural venues can already operate. This is why I came here to find out as much as I can and learn from your experience and the ability of the Israeli nation to organize such a massive logistical operation, which is not only swift but smooth as well, is truly admirable. No doubt this is due to the difficult geopolitical situation that the State of Israel finds itself in this existential threat it faces day after day. After 1948, Czechoslovakia helped Israel mainly with crucial deliveries of fighting planes, and we, at the time, we helped your young country to keep its independence. And of course, we are ally and we are strategic partner. And that's why that we think that when the International Criminal Court announced in February it seeks to investigate and prosecute cases in Palestinian territories, we find this unfortunate. Though we respect the independence of the court, the Czech Republic doesn't consider Palestine to be a state. Therefore, the court has no jurisdiction over it. The ruling is a political and generates new tension in the Middle East. The only way forward is two-state solution, and the ICC should work with us towards this solution, not fan the flames. The ICC should stop being selective, and if it is really wishes to prosecute war criminals, it has a number of opportunities to do so around the world. Let me assure you, dear Prime Minister, that we will never support anything which might threaten Israeli security and the independence of representatives around the world. We are well aware of the fact that Israel is the only true democracy in the region. I would like to stress that me, my government, as well the people of the Czech Republic are and always will be strongly opposed to any form of aggressions against Israel and its people. Last but not least, I would like to thank you again for the 5,000 Moderna vaccine Israeli recently sent us. We are grateful for this gift, which further deepens an already close cooperation. We appreciate any form of help and show of support from abroad. Hopefully, the pandemic in our country has already peaked and the situation will improve soon. The only answer to pandemic is speedy vaccination supported by new COVID treatment methods. In this regard, we receive a lot of useful information from our Israeli partners and friends. Thank you for this possibility to be here today, dear Prime Minister, and let me congratulate you and your team once again on how well you handled the fight against COVID. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrej. Thank you for your friendship and those kind words.
Thank you very much, Excellencies. We thank you, Prime Ministers. That's the end of this press conference.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. No better friend. No better.